In a world full of games, there are many games that can go unnoticed. Our duty is to lead you to the ones maybe you know or maybe you don't, to uncover the hidden gems and the classics that deserve recognition, providing you with a curated selection of indie games, retro, and new games that maybe you didn't know. My name is Ken Tantino and welcome to the very first episode of Game You Must Play Before You Die.
Now, there are Metroidvanias you respect for their mechanics, and some that you remember for the challenge. But then there are Metroidvanias that stay with you, not because they were difficult, but because they made you feel something. And when it comes to Ori and the Blind Forest, it belongs firmly in the last category. At first glance, it fits comfortably into the classic Metroidvania mold. From the very beginning, the game teaches you that how you move through the world is just as important as where you go, bringing a fluidity in a way that very few games manage to achieve. As you unlock new abilities, the game itself begins to transform. But this doesn't mean that Ori is easy, far from it. In fact, some of the most intense moments come not from the boss fights, but from its now infamous escape sequences. These sections strip the game down to its purest form, where movement and timing become instinctful. But with all games, you've got to think, what about the story? Much like Metroid, dialogue is minimal. Instead, with Ori, the game relies on visual storytelling. But unlike Metroid's focus on mystery and solitude, Ori leans heavily into emotion. And by the time you reach the later hours of the game, the stakes feel real, not because the world might end, but because you care about what happens to it. And what truly sets Ori and the Blind Forest apart within the Metroidvania genre is that it doesn't try to outdo Hollow Knight in difficulty, nor does it try to outstyle Castlevania in combat. Instead, it carves its own identity. Now, obviously, Ori and the Blind Forest doesn't replace the giants of the genre, but it can stand proudly alongside them. It proves that Metroidvanias can be more than just maps and upgrades. They can be expressive and they can be emotional, but most of all, they can be beautiful. So if you love your Metroidvanias, or you're just curious about why the genre continues to resonate decades later, give Ori and the Blind Forest a shot, because it isn't just worth playing, it's absolutely essential.
Hey there, Retro Complex viewers, Dr. Scott here, borrowing some time to talk about a game that shouldn't work for me, but somehow it does. My friend Ken of Retro Complex, the host of this great channel, is doing a feature on Metroidvanias, and I insisted that I had to cover Owlboy. See, I'm being covered by Owlboy now. Just watch the video, you'll love it. Guaranteed. Just have a look. Go on it. Oh, I have to push the button, hang on. Now, those of you who know me or have watched my antics over on the Game Closet know that my relationship with platformers is, well, let's call it retroactively tragic. Seriously, I'm terrible. I hit a spike pit like it's my job. If a game requires pixel-perfect jumping, I'm out. My skills are less fine-tuned machine and more freshman band geek juggling chainsaws on a trampoline. So imagine my shock when I sat down with Owlboy on the PS4. For some reason, and this is key, I can actually play this game. I don't just muddle through, I can approach it with a level of finesse that I simply don't possess in titles like Celeste or Shovel Knight. It's baffling, and it's a wonderful paradox. What makes it work, especially for someone who is platforming impaired like me? Simple. You get to fly. Our hero Otis is an owl. Instead of dealing with the agony of jumping, you get to soar, glide, and swoop. The controls on the PS4 are buttery smooth, turning what would usually be a death trap into a beautiful, strategic aerial ballet. It uses that classic retro complex high-bit aesthetic, but gives me the modern convenience of skipping most of the frustrating ground-based gymnastics, or you get to watch me fall into a pit and die like if I'm, playing Mario or something like that. It's a beautiful adventure that focuses on exploration and character, not just punishing dexterity. And trust me, I don't know why, I can play Halo all day long and Rainbow Six, but when it comes to platformers, I'm just a klutz. So there you go. Call me a klutz if you like. So if you're looking for a Metroidvania experience that truly stands out, and maybe one that won't make you throw your controller across the room, check out Owlboy. It's proof that sometimes the best platformer is the one that lets you fly past the platforming. Thanks for having me on, Ken, and we'll see you soon.
I normally talk about old games that nobody has played, but this one I know is an easy miss. So going into the indie realm, we got Turbo Kid, which is a unique take on what a Metroidvania game is, taking place in the year 1999, taking us into a post-apocalyptic future that for some reason bikes are actually survive everything and are the main mode of transportation for everyone, taking the role as Kid that finds himself trapped in a city protected by a huge wall with no way to escape. When I saw this game, I thought it was a mix of Mega Man and Metroid with a sprinkle of BMX, and yes, in the game you can actually use your bike to do tricks and even do combos. This game has a unique story that later on I found out that is based on a movie going by the same name, and even a music video that I 100% recommend watching before playing this game that will explain a lot of what is going on in this world.
Killing Time Resurrected. Now, despite what you may think, yes, people do classify this game as a Metroidvania. You're set on an island that you randomly explore. You have to go find the keys to certain things, which will then take you to other places, obviously, but there's a lot of backtracking in this, and now that is where the Metroidvania elements do come in. It is very Metroidvania-like. But yes, it is a first-person shooter, so obviously if you're looking for like Castlevania or something like that, obviously you're not getting that here. But I've talked to TheMadBelmont, who's a big Metroidvania fan, and he even said it is a Metroidvania. From him, from the pro himself, from the man himself, the living legend, the Metroidvania Castlevania YouTuber.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. This game is a spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night, and it was released in 2019, and it also serves as the sequel to that game that we as Castlevania fans never got. In this game, you play as Miriam, an orphan scarred by an alchemist's curse that slowly crystallizes her body. Miriam is sent to a mysterious castle to fight her way to the castle's master so she can defeat them and not only save herself, but all of humanity as well. In this game, you do a lot of the same things that you did in Symphony of the Night, like the action platforming and the leveling and the going and getting different abilities to help you get through the different areas and stuff like that. But also, you have side quests to complete if you choose to, and you can do cool stuff like crafting and cooking, and you can even customize Miriam's outfits. This game is just as fun as Soten is, so whether you decide to play Bloodstained Ritual of the Night here, or Symphony of the Night, you can't go wrong with either one if I'm being honest with you.
Okay, so if there's one game you absolutely must experience before you die, I hate to say it, it's Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo. It is a game that pretty much created its own name of the Metroidvania style type of game. Whether you're a lifelong gamer or someone just discovering the classics, this game is a masterclass of design, atmosphere, and its storytelling, without ever saying a word. Super Metroid drops you onto the eerie planet of Zebes, and from the moment you step foot into its dark corridors, oh man, do you feel it. Isolation, mystery, don't forget danger. The game doesn't spoon-feed you anything. Instead, it lets you explore, discover, and learn by what you are doing. The world itself becomes the narrator, and every room, creature, and sound tells you something about where you are and the next place you need to go. What makes Super Metroid a timeless classic in its perfect blend of exploration and progression, you're constantly finding new abilities. The Morph Ball, the Grapple Beam, don't forget the Space Jump, opens up entirely new areas of the map. And the world is cleverly designed so that when you pick up a new upgrade, you immediately think back to somewhere earlier that now makes sense. Kind of like things that happen in The Legend of Zelda, but that's a discussion for another time. This structure eventually becomes known as the Metroidvania design, and countless modern games have tried to emulate it, but few have matched its elegance and charm. Don't forget its pacing and satisfaction, and that is what nails Super Metroid effortlessly. Then there are the bosses, iconic, challenging, and somewhat unforgettable. Every fight feels like an event, a Royal Rumble for that, I might say. And the final sequence, it's emotional in ways that very few games from its era dared to even attempt. And even today, oh man, is it hard as hell. Super Metroid isn't just a classic. It's a landmark in gaming history, in our history. Its atmosphere, its levels, and smart design make it feel just as fresh and meaningful now as it did years ago. It's a journey every gamer should experience at least once. If you want to understand where the modern game design comes from and play one of the greatest adventure games ever crafted, I will tell you this: Super Metroid is a game you must play before you die.
So when I think of Metroidvanias that you have to play before you die, the first one is Castlevania Symphony of the Night, a game developed and published by Konami in 1997. In this game, you play as Alucard, a half-human, half-vampire that is the son of Dracula, and you play as him after he wakes up from a 300-year slumber, and you go on a quest to slay good old Dracula and put an end to his quest for vengeance against humanity once again. In this game, you go from area to area across this gigantic castle, and you scroll from side to side, you platform, and you smack enemies in the face with a variety of different weapons, as well as leveling up Alucard and his various stats, and getting different gear and abilities to help you along the way. This game is a game that is timeless to me, and it's also a game that I play at least once a year due to how well it's made. And if you decide to play it, you'll see why I say that.
Anyway guys, that was it for this video. If you like more videos like this, wanna go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification on for more videos like this. And if you have any recommendation of games that we should check, why not leave it in the section below? And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.